Well, my name is Sam Wilson. I was born 1941 down there on Ring Oak Plantation, and I grew up and I went to the old corn cart school for a while, and I left there and I worked to the plantation for probably 6 or 7 years, and then I left and went to the city of Tallahassee. I worked there for a year and a half. And from that point, I moved to Newburgh, New York in 1963 and stayed there till 99. I moved back here and been here ever since, and happy to be back home. I would just say it was a lot of fun growing up here in Miccosukee. As you might already know, we grew up on a farm ourselves and working for the plantation. I didn't go to school that much. Sixth grade education, that's not very much today, but at that time, that was what we had to do because, we had to do what our parents told us to do. And they didn't have a lot, and they didn't know nothing but farming, and you as a child, you got to do what your parents tell you to do. I learned one thing in life: you take what you got and make the best of it.
Right. The opportunity to get an education wasn't there.
No.
And yet, you didn't stop learning just because of the formal education. You still learned.
And it's true. And then sometimes hearing the older people make remarks, that didn't help any either. They would make remarks sometimes like, you might as well let them work in the field and thing because they're not going to be able to ever do anything with their education anyway. So that was their way of thinking at that time, because when they was coming through, that's the way it was. So they just assumed that's the way it would always be.
Right.
So, but that's still not an excuse for me or anyone that don't have a good education, because there have been so many opportunities, and it still is today, if a person wished to get that. So I really don't hold that against my parents. They were good parents. They did what they thought was best.
So you mentioned that you were born on the Ring Oak Plantation, right over there.
Yes.
I know that that your father worked. Did you live on the plantation? Did you work on the plantation? How tell me something about that plantation.
I lived on the plantation. He was a caretaker of the 3 houses that they had to maintain. So when the Yankee people, they call them, would come down for the winter when they were hunting, he was the caretaker of those houses, and he was responsible for keeping the grounds and everything around there. And quite naturally, he made us work as hard as he worked, of course.
Of course.
But after I grew up, probably 16 or 17 years old, I started working for the plantation on the farm up there. They called it the barn at that time. That's where they kept all the equipment, the tractors and whatnot. We put in long hours. We would grab a tractor from 6:30 in the morning to 6:30 in the afternoon for $4 a day, for $22 a week. We had everything that we wanted. We had running water, indoor plumbing, and
when a lot of other people didn't have that.
I know, and whenever we needed, like when we got our first car, you go to town and you pick out what you wanted, you get it, and they'll take it out your pay till you pay for it, of course. It took you forever, but that's the only way you were gonna get you a car, And,
Right.
And back then, I know a couple of guys used to drinking, they'll get arrested and whatnot, and they'll get put in jail. But at that time, all the boys had to do make a phone call over there, and they would let them out. But that's no longer the case now, of course. But as time passed, you want more money, you need more money, and I know making $4 a day wasn't gonna cut it, So when I went to the city, they were making $1.50 an hour, and I thought that was pretty good money at that time, We come a long ways, and I remember like going to the movies, you had to go in one side and went on another side, and the water fountain, you drank here, and we had to go around the back, and even the restroom, like the restroom would be here, you always got to go around the back, and wasn't no such thing as you're gonna walk in a place and eat like you can do now. And when I first started driving from Newburgh back here, we always packed our lunch because you weren't gonna stop no place to.
Right. I heard that a lot of people had to do that, and also that sometimes they had to find friendly, if they had to stop over the way, they had to find a friendly family or something, because a lot of times they couldn't, or a hotel that would, if the few were that were black owned, because
Well, I
you
never
couldn't.
even thought of that. Excuse me for cutting you across. We never even planned to stop over. It would take like maybe 24 hours, and
You
we
just
just
drove.
drive straight through. We would
Yeah.
stop and eat and just keep. And my wife used to drive a lot for me, and I would take a little nap while she was
Right,
doing it.
right.
So, you know.
And I guess part of the reason was because it wasn't necessarily safe.
No, it wasn't. It
You
wasn't.
couldn't, you didn't have the privilege of stopping at a hotel
You
like you do
didn't,
now.
and you know, you didn't trust a lot of time if someone you stopped to eat, you didn't know what you might be eating. So we just always packed the lunch before we left, and when we felt like eating, we would stop at some place and eat, and then we'll get back on the road again. So, and I always stopped at a big public gas station. I never stopped at a little
Oh yeah,
side the road thing. I never do that to get
because
gas.
you
or
wanted to
something.
be able to leave it,
You
right?
better believe it. So you always want to stop at a big public place where, you know, you feel kind of safe getting your gas and stuff. But things are so different now, though. You know, you can.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the kids now don't appreciate what people in your generation and older had to endure, so that they could have the privilege of saying, "I won't take that."
Yeah, yeah.
Remember, because they had to take it, or we wouldn't be here.
That's true. And a lot of my age people hadn't taken the time to teach our kids the history that they should know, like our parents did us. You know what I mean? How could your kid know if you don't teach them, if you don't tell them?
Right.
And that's really so much disrespect for everything now, because they grew up with like a wildflower. You know, no discipline, no training. And unfortunately, it's not a lot of time. It's not the kid's fault. It's the broken home that they came out of, and we were fortunate to grow up in a home with two parents
yeah.
there and with love. We didn't have a lot of money. My parents didn't have a lot of money, but there was a lot of love and harmony there, and that's what it's all
Right.
about. I'd much rather have love than to have money.
Oh yeah.